Lately, I've been finding that without being consciously aware of what I'm doing, perhaps as a habit or pattern in my life, I have been avoiding silence. And I'm seeing more and more how much silence is a necessity to our functioning as human beings. It is a vital and essential aspect of our well being. And when I refer to silence, I mean a host of different things. I think that silence can be interpreted in so many different ways. Silence can mean returning to yourself. So, for example, after you've had a hangout with your partner or family or friends, after you've finished a day at work, returning to yourself consciously with awareness and not getting lost in distractions, whether that would be going on your phone, engaging with addictions, anything that removes you from fully reconnecting with yourself. Silence also means sitting with your thoughts, having that be a practice for your life, sitting with your thoughts. Whatever is going on in that particular stage of your life, just resting into it, allowing the emotions and feelings that are inside of you to ebb and flow, to surface and resurface. Whatever you are pondering in this season of your life, whatever you are reflecting on, to allow those thoughts to come to the forefront. Silence can mean knowing when to restrain your words. Perhaps you are in a social interaction with your family or your partner or a friend, and you can feel some type of petty disagreement or conflict that is ego driven. You can feel it coming on. Silence is knowing, is having that discernment, having that discretion. When do I need to keep quiet, stay tight-lipped for the sake of the relationship, for the sake of your own peace, for the sake of not inflaming your ego and needing to be right when this isn't a situation that is important enough to advocate for that correctness. Silence means allowing yourself the space and time to process something that is going on in your life. You can have perhaps a big season, a change, something that is coming on in your life, maybe a decision that you need to make for the future. And silence is giving yourself space to sit with that season and reflect, journal, allowing what needs to come to the surface to come up so you can make the right choices and go in the right direction for yourself, so that you can make healthier choices. Silence may also mean just freeing your mind, allowing yourself to be bored sometimes, allowing yourself to be present and enter into human being instead of human doing, and enjoying the present moment, being attentive and mindful and aware of what is going on around you. Whether that be you are on a walk, you are riding the bus, and you are not having your head down looking at your phone, but you are involved, you are in the moment, you are seeing what's happening around you, you are engaged with your lived experience at this present moment. What is your relationship towards silence, and do you feel you have enough silence in your life? And what have you discovered to be alternatives to silence that you constantly move into, that you constantly choose over silence, over presence, over letting go and not allowing yourself to be consumed unnecessarily? So for myself, I'm finding that I'm needing more silence for my life, because it's all too common for me after a long day of work and I'm exhausted, I am fatigued, and I just want to rest. And instead of choosing a productive, a beneficial form of rest, I turn towards like my phone, scrolling apps, going on YouTube and watching videos that might be informative videos, but not necessarily videos that I need to be watching at that time. And I'm realizing through these practices, I am escaping something that is very much needed, and that is silence. That is quiet spaces in my life where I can befriend, where I can confront, where I can settle, where I can remedy what it is that is within me that needs to be dealt with, that needs to be cared for. When you allow that space, like I've shared earlier, you create an opportunity for emotions, for feelings, for memories, for reflections to surface and resurface, to rise up within you, to stir within you. When there is noise, like scrolling your phone or just watching videos or TV shows, series because it's something to do, your mind does not get that chance to breathe. And your mind then becomes filled with thoughts and ideas and escapes through this media, through these avenues. Sometimes we move towards that noise because we don't want to deal with what is inside of us. So it could even be something we do subconsciously as we move towards the noise. We move towards getting home quickly and just scrolling your phone or watching the next series, or even spending inordinate amounts of time with other people because you don't want to face what is here, what needs to rise to the surface. Because oftentimes there is fear with what might be stirred within us, and we feel scared because once those feelings, those emotions, those thoughts, those reflections rise to the surface, then we have to deal with them in some way. We have to make peace with them. We have to negotiate them and sort them out. And so my challenge to you, to myself, honestly, this is my challenge to myself. My challenge to myself is to sit with those emotions, those thoughts and feelings, and to feel that fear. And if you are like me and you're wanting to do this, let's know that we're doing it together. Another aspect of silence that I've been thinking about, and this is how I'm deconstructing silence. This is more silence as I'm putting it more like a metaphor, if you will, a metaphor. Another aspect of silence is that I sometimes avoid is returning to myself. And I find this especially more if you have close relationships in your life, like if you have a partner, or you're really close with your parents, or you're really close with friends. And if you spend a lot of time with those people, with the people you love, sometimes it can be really challenging to return to yourself. Like returning to yourself after a hangout is over, returning to yourself if you have periods or spaces where that person is gone in a certain season of your life. Like some people, they have partners who might like go away on a trip and they're just at home alone. Or if you are accustomed or used to a particular social dynamic or friend group that is always there. I can remember like sometimes in high school, like your best friend doesn't show up one day because she's sick or he's sick, and maybe it was just like the two of you that would hang out at lunchtime, and you're just like, oh my gosh, like my best friend isn't here, like what am I gonna do? And I know that there's other like social dynamics and like insecurities that go into a scenario like that, but specifically I'm talking about moments where you have to be by yourself and exit out of certain social spaces, and you return to yourself. I feel like this can be what I would interpret as a form of silence, because it's like you are now alone with yourself, you are quiet with yourself, you're escaping the noise of that social environment, that social interaction, and all of the buzz and the dynamic and complexity that goes along with that relationship. And sometimes now you have to deal in your alone time with any fears or insecurities or feelings of dysregulation or things that might arise or come up in you in those silent spaces. And so my encouragement in these moments is to return to yourself fully. Like, take these moments as opportunities to really spend time with yourself, not as like, oh my gosh, my partner is going, like, what am I going to do for the next 3 weeks? Or, oh my gosh, my parents aren't here. Or, oh my gosh, my best friend isn't here. Or that social space that I was a part of, like, I don't attend for the next little while, or maybe it's shut down altogether. Use those moments to really return to yourself fully. This can mean, as I say a lot, like reflecting, journaling, taking yourself out on dates, solo dates, enjoying those small pleasures like going for a walk, having a morning cup of tea on your balcony or some space at your workplace that you really enjoy, a time to develop hobbies and explore things that you never really have before, learning new things, taking care of yourself, like examining and assessing what within you needs to be cared for better. Could be aspects of your physical health or mental health, and taking steps, booking appointments, whatever it is that you need to do to increase your well-being. I think that sitting with your thoughts and returning to yourself creates a level of self-friendship and self-mastery that sometimes really goes unexplored by the majority of us. And isn't it good? Just the idea of knowing that you can conquer yourself, you can master yourself. Whatever fears you have, whatever conflicts that you have internally, that you can master them by sitting with them, by working through them, by taking those steps to process them. I feel that, like, returning to yourself and allowing that space for silence creates this within you. Another form of silence, in my metaphorical interpretation of it, is putting certain areas of your life on hold, or silencing certain areas of your life, at least for a time, in order to return to them in a better way. Sometimes we are in situations where we don't really fully know the answers just yet. It could be like trying to figure out your career landscape, or a move, or maybe it could be a relationship that you're in, like you just started a relationship and you're not sure where things are going. And we have this feeling of urgency inside of us sometimes when it comes to making decisions, where it's like, I need to make that decision like right now. Like, even if I don't have all the details, even if I don't have all the information, I just need to pick a path. And I think that sometimes we have to silence. Maybe silence is not really the right word, because silence kind of gives this idea that nothing is happening. But I think that a lot happens within silent spaces. But I think we have to sometimes silence or put on pause certain areas of our life so that we can gather more information. And gathering more information can look like just going about your daily life, allowing time to do its work, to progress you into different paths. Having that trust that time is doing something, and it always is. We are gaining more knowledge, more awareness, more information as we go through each day. And sometimes we find that if we put a certain area of our life on pause or on hold, within months we're able to go back to that area and realize, I feel like I have more information to move me a step in the right path, or even to fully make a decision. And this last one is the one that I want to work on the most, and the one that has been coming up for me the most. This one is, for me, it's like creating more silence and spaces within social interactions. Sometimes I am in an interaction like with my partner or a friend or family, and we might be discussing something. A debate can come up where you want to advocate and assert yourself, mainly because you just want to be right, not because not because this is really important information that needs to be shared with that person. You just want to be right. So you want to voice and argue your point. And I'm going to say that in these moments, it's better to be silent. It is better to take the L or take the loss, as the ego would feel it like that. And even if the information is incorrect, if it's something small, if it's something that is not, if it's something that's not consequential for anything, then let them have it. Be quiet, be silent. Sometimes it's better, there is more value in having your peace than needing to be right in a specific moment. Sometimes vying and trying and striving to be right ruins relationships and just creates unnecessary banter and arguments. Feeling this tension and feeling this conflict within you, even if it's something that is not petty, even if it's like a legit argument where there is a lot at stake, often it is best to step away and embrace the silence, embrace returning to yourself and processing that situation with yourself first before going back to that person, going back to that situation, going back to that argument. What is entering that space of discordance and dysregulation and ego, what is it going to do for you? And this is easier said than done because our minds are really wired for survival and detecting threats and wanting to protect ourselves. So it can be instant that we all of a sudden find ourselves in these spaces. But I think that the more that we embrace silence in our lives, even just by ourselves, even outside of situations like that, we see the value of the pause. We see the value of returning to ourselves. We see the value of the processing and letting the emotions and feelings arise by themselves, and the reflection and the letting go that happens in the quiet. And importantly, we see the self-mastery. Like the more times we allow silence, we are with ourselves, the more validated that we feel internally, our own form of self-love and self-validation that doesn't come from anybody else. And I think the more that we feel that we allow that, the stronger we are, and the less we look for validation from other people, whether it's being right or whether it's in social situations or what have you. Because we are so comfortable receiving that from within, we don't look for it from without. My name is Imo, and if you enjoy on the fly takes like these little reflections about life, please like, comment, and subscribe for more content. And if you have any suggestions or anything that you've been pondering lately, I would love to know in the comments. I would love to create a video about that. Thank you so much for your support. Bye.